Bruce, do you practice any kind of like religion? I mean,
I'm born and raised as a Christian Scientist.
Oh.
So it starts with a premise of perfect God, perfect man.
Right. Now this is interesting. I don't know much about Christian Science.
It's not the fallen man
Okay.
who's a perennial sinner begging for forgiveness. It's the perfect man, because if you look at chapter 1 of Genesis, is the creation of a perfect man. Everything that's described in that first chapter, man is freaking perfect. It is a perfect specimen.
Okay.
Chapter 2, and the mist went up. And then man came out of that mist, and the mist it's the mist in front of the mountains. The mountains are always there. It's the mist of the human man.
What about the apple?
The apple's part of the mist. The apple's part of the mist. It's the temptation, the lust, the lust of the sins of the flesh are created. And in essence, in my opinion, it's only my personal opinion, it's the opposite creation. They've already done the creation. This is what not to buy into. It already told you. It already told you everything that's been done. And don't buy this. This is what we would call mortal mind. It's mortal mind telling you that man's upside down. Man is flawed. Man kills each other. Man hates each other. Man is not inclusive. Everything mortal that you tell, everything bad about man. It's the anti-creation. So you create your world based on kind of which creation you buy into. If man is perennially flawed, my only concern with that from a religious perspective is I go, you poor bastards. You'll never get out of the fact that you feel like you're a broken egg right out of the box.
You're fallen right at the beginning.
According to some of these religions, you are.
Yeah. But how about this, Bruce? Does in Christian Science is that the version where like the body, if it gets a disease or illness, it's a spiritual problem. It's not a physical problem. Am I right?
It's actually a Bible-based religion.
For sure.
A woman, Mary Baker Eddy, had a traumatic fall in the mid 1800s. Screwed her back up royally. Some kind of thing happened. She was like, all right, wait a second. What if this was all rethought? And it's a spiritual, so there's the key to the scriptures. We have a companion book.
I was going to say, there's a separate thing, right?
There's a separate. It's not a literal interpretation of the Bible. It's a spiritual interpretation of it. Because man, you can get pretty gritty. The Bible gets pretty gritty.
That's cool.
So anyway, so it's that version of it, and eventually, and they were a little Mormon-y. You didn't smoke, you didn't drink, because again, that's not real spiritual,
Sure.
It's kind of fucking with the perfect model.
Mormon-y,
yeah. Sure. And so over time, I pushed back against. I'm like, guys, we've been at this for this particular religion for 120 years. Like, if we nailed it, wouldn't we all just disappear?
Sure.
And I say that to all organized religions. Like, well, hasn't anyone like home run and ninth inning? Trent Jenkins.
When is the one?
Of Kearney, Nebraska. You did it. The bell rang. Ed McMahon shows up.
Congratulations. Terrific, guys. Totally. Yeah.
So I thought, because I thought to myself, can I please decide what I think is right or wrong? Not what's kind of written down in a book. I found there were some very profound words in both the Bible and this. And I thought there was gobbledygook in the Bible and gobbledygook in that.
Sure. Yeah.
And I thought, hey man, I'm kind of full adult now. I want to do my own little journey.
Yeah.
And so I just call myself a citizen of the world now.
I love the way your movies have like this great combination of horror and humor. And I'm just wondering, why do you think that some of us are so attracted to that combo? Like, what's going on there? It's a weird combination, isn't it?
Oh, it's a little flicker of light in the darkness.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't, we grew up on the Three Stooges, so we always, we love just slapstick humor. And we were really terrified. The first Evil Dead, we were really concerned that, we weren't going to get a movie made. So we thought, let's do a horror movie. Let's do a horror movie. It's one of the great staples of the industry. They don't cost much. And so we thought, well, if we're going to make a horror movie, no holds barred. Let's make it completely over the top, unrated, all that stuff. And it was a melodrama. And people fainted and we got some unintentional laughs because it was too melodramatic. The second one was co-written by Scott Spiegel, who, we would call Larry Fine in the old old actors home and talked to them.
You're kidding me.
Really?
We worked out the time difference in Michigan.
You talked to Larry of the Three Stooges?
Yeah.
Awesome.
We knew
Fantastic.
his nurse was Mrs. Ross.
This sounds like a skit, like a Three Stooges
I'm
skit.
telling you, if you called at 11 o'clock our time, it was 2 o'clock our time.
Yeah.
It was 11 a.m. LA time, which we thought he's up.
It's got to be
Probably
up.
had his breakfast, his bowel movement. He's probably wheeled into the sunshine. This might be a good time. And almost every time we talked to him twice.
Really?
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, and he would get on, and he had had a stroke, so he was
Oh God.
talking a little slow, but his brain was all there. And we'd go, Larry,
Right.
with all the pain and all that, was it worth it? He go, well, fellas, that pain goes away on payday. Very old school.
Absolutely.
Old school guy.
Well, I just have to say, last night, my girlfriend, who was a big Xena Warrior Princess fan, we went to watch some episodes because I was like, you know what? I got to go back and revisit this and watch. And we watched one where you're in a boat that flips over. It's basically the Poseidon Adventure.
It is.
With Xena Warrior
Poseidon
Princess.
Adventure.
And you as Autolycus and the boat goes down.
Yeah, it was called Tsunami.
It's
man,
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. But the whole time, all I could think was, Bruce is in this fucking tank. Some tank. I don't know. We're down in New Zealand, probably. Right?
Oh yeah.
And you're wet the whole fucking time.
Oh yeah.
And all I could think was, were you just like, Jesus Christ? But that stuff must have been fun to do.
It was a very strange episode. Paul, you'll appreciate this. They issued a memo before that episode apologizing to the actors. And said, we just want you to know, in order to portray the leaky ship, you have to pump water into it, and it's going to make a noise. There will be noise all day long of some sort of that they may or may not be able to replace. Yeah. So they warned you may have to replace all of your dialogue in this episode from the time you were underwater. My God. So, but here's the hilarious part. My character, Autolycus, the king of thieves, usually blah, 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 blah. He's full of shit all the time. And then Lucy will go, right, go get him. In this episode,
you didn't talk much in it.
No,
I know.
I read the script and went, oh, thank God.
Fantastic.
And now Lucy has to go, hey, Gabrielle, put your finger in over there. Autolycus, shove this up your butt. And she was giving the orders left and right. I'm sitting there in the corner going.
No. And my girlfriend was like, he didn't say he usually talks so much. She was like, I remember he didn't talk that much in this one. You didn't talk that much in that one.
Oh, no. So I got so lucky. And normally we're always jockeying for places to ad lib. Hey, oh yeah, so's your uncle.
Not this time.
And this one, I'm like,
no, you definitely weren't. You were
and the Kiwis were great. They're a tremendous crew.
Yeah.
It was bathwater warm.
Oh, so it was nice and warm. So
we had one exciting moment though, because it was a water tank.
Yeah.
We were supposed to swim out.
Yeah.
From the overturned ship. Yeah. And so they actually wanted us, fully submerged, doing the swim through the water up to the surface.
Yes.
Well, we're filming stuff and they're filling this tank with water.
Yeah.
It's a big square tank that looks very solid.
Yeah.
And they get this thing about 12 feet tall.
Boom.
And we're sitting around and we hear,
that's a lot of water.
Bam. And we're like some guy dropped a huge pipe or something, right? And we're like, what the hell was that? Bam. And then another one. It was the rivets popping out of the structure.
Shit. Yeah.
As it was giving
That's a
away.
shit ton of water.
Oh, dog.
Yeah.
We look over as an entire wall goes, it's got like dinosaur sounds as it's coming in. It hit a support pole in the studio and sent the water sideways.
Holy shit.
It splooged it both ways, and like camera cases are floating through the studio.
Somebody could have got hurt.
Oh, dog. Well,
I'm surprised nobody did.
We were supposed to swim out. What if we got sucked through that little crack?
You would have been fucking like nailed.
No,
totally.
That's where you go.
The crazy shit that they have you do.
We do stuff that, I mean, there's so many close calls.
They put you in shit. They have you do shit. And it's just like, it's crazy. I mean, I've done shit in cars that I'm like, you're really trusting me to fucking like spin this thing out and drive it through that thing? And I'm like, what the fuck? Are you crazy?
I had to rob a bank in a TV movie up in Portland. The cheap ass producers, no stunt driver. I'm supposed to cut in front of traffic.
Yeah.
Stop in front of this bank. So it's closed, right? It's a Saturday. But they go, no. Just fake it. Run up to the door with the shotgun in hand to the bank. And then do this to the doors. Because as soon as you touch the doors, we're going to cut inside.
We're going to cut.
We're going to cut. But for the sake of the rest of the shot, pause.
Yeah.
Then pretend like you just closed the doors.
And run away.
Run back to the car. Get in, cut across 4 lanes of traffic, and take a very dangerous left turn. I was looking for shells for that shotgun. I got back after the take. I went, there's no more takes of that.
Sure, scared shitless. Totally. Yeah.
Now, granted, Paul and I think are at the point where we would both now go, I respectfully decline your offer.
I know. And I kind of passed that point where I was like, should I feel bad? Should I feel a little sad for myself that I'm like, I don't want to do this?
Money in the stunt guy's pocket.
It's wisdom.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's actually very true. But
they got a family. They got mouths to feed, man.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more wary than I used to be. I mean, it was a thing I really enjoyed. I was like, sure, you can drop me out of this tree. You can throw me in that tank.
It is exciting, but you have to actually be able to continue to function. A lot of actors, I work with Lee Majors.
Yes.
Lee was more physically adept in many cases than his stunt guy.
Wow.
And he would say to him, because he was one of these guys, I got it, Kenny. And he'd make sure that Kenny got paid.
And he would do it.
And Lee would flip over the table.
Wow.
And he said it was the later seasons of The Fall Guy. He's on the tram that goes up to Palm Springs. He's on the tram. He's on the top of the tram going up the mountain. And he goes, what am I doing up here? What am I doing up here?
Why am I
up here?
I shouldn't be doing any of this.
Yeah.
Any of this. Yeah. And he tells the story. They wanted him for season 7 in the middle of nowhere.
Sure.
He wouldn't let him get out of the van. They wanted to come and talk him into a season 7. He said, don't you get out. Don't even
get out of the van.
Don't get out of that van. Get off my property. Get off my property.
Were you a horror fan before doing this stuff?
Not at all.
You weren't. You did not grow up with any of that kind of thing. That's so interesting.
I didn't read Marvel. I read Sad Sack magazine.
Sad Sack.
Sad Sack was this idiot loser GI in World War II, always peeling potatoes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
by mistake, he would save D-Dick.
That's right. I remember that. I forgot about Sad Sack.
Nose, his pants were falling down.
I remember Sad Sack.
He was Sad Sack. He was the opposite of Sergeant Rock.
That's right.
Was that like a Sunday cartoon? Was that in the Sunday papers, or that was its own comic book?
No doubt. From
I think that's where I saw it.
Yeah, I think it was. I remember Sad Sack. His pants were hanging down.
Yeah. Oh, Sam was tearing through Spider-Man. Sam Raimi, through Spider-Man magazines, and I'm like, no, Sad Sack.
You didn't care. So you had none of that. No interest in any of that. That's so interesting.
And the horror and all that. I love the fact that Dean Martin would send Jerry Lewis into the stores to get comics for him.
Oh, really?
Because Jerry Lewis looked like he was 21 years old. And Dean Martin was like, I'm not going to go in there.
He felt like a moron going and buying. He felt like an idiot.
What are you fucking crazy? I'm not going
in there looking condoms.
Like this. Get in there. Get in there. Give me some fucking comics.
Get in there.
Come on, Jerry. You moron. Get in there.
It's Dean. Fuck you. God damn it.
Do you love Jerry Lewis? Are you a Jerry Lewis fan?
I'm going to preface all of these discussions with troubled individuals, with everyone's a complex individual. And I do believe, like Roman Polanski, you can be a creep and make good movies. I have to be able to separate the two. Yeah. Do you boycott them because of one, because of the other? Maybe. I mean,
well, what do we not know about Jerry Lewis?
I know. Well, Jerry was a tricky guy.
Jerry was a grabber, and he was an unapologetic grabber. And if you didn't play ball, he cut your lines. He saved you to the end of the day. You wouldn't be in any more movies.
Do you find him funny? Do you find the stuff that he did funny? Do you think this stuff was?
I find about 3 or 4 movies to be pretty brilliant. And even out of those, I would go, let's just cut a compilation reel.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yes.
Like a compilation reel of like Jim Carrey would be probably pretty amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Compilation reel of Jerry Lewis would be equally amazing.
That's
He's got
true.
this whole
That's
thing of
interesting.
dancing on these steps, this whole thing.
Yeah.
And you go, shit, where did that come from? And he honed his skills for 10 years in clubs with Dean. You know, the first introduction he had was coming out with a tray of 100 plates. And he was the busboy. Where is that kid?
Hey, I got you stuff, Dean.
100 dishes would break in the opening routine. That's it. And then he screwed himself up. He did one of these
he
big
fucked
falls.
his back up.
And when he landed, he knew he went.
He
is that right?
Early
in his career or like
no?
When
it was probably
kind of
late, maybe 70s,
sort of
probably.
Cinderfella era or something like that. Not even Professor era.
Cut the painkillers.
Yeah,
cut to the whole.
That's when all that stuff happened.
Okay.
You know, it's true. The compilations, those things. You watch the Marx Brothers movies, and you're like, there's a lot of that, like. Just kind of the hissing. There's a lot of this dead air where you're just watching them.
Just get to the closet.
They're just kind of sitting there. They're like, like Harpo's like buttering a piece of toast. And they're sort of grouchy, kind of muttering.
Hey, new appreciation, by the way, for Laurel and Hardy.
Oh, those guys are great.
Really? You have a
I always thought they were too slow.
Oh, really?
No. Boy,
I
was
think they're
wrong.
amazing.
Boy, was I wrong. And they're both equally funny.
Yes.
I need to rewatch that stuff.
Stan gets all the credit, but Ollie is like, that guy is so solid during a take.
Amazing.
I love going back and forth and go, what is each guy doing?
Which guys? Yes, totally.
And you look at him, and I could look at Ollie just as much as Stan because I'm going, because he's feeding Stan.
Totally.
And it's like, shit. And now that it's not, there's better versions out there, whether it's, YouTube or whatever.
They're cleaned up.
They're more watchable.
Yeah, they're more watchable.
More watchable.
No, there's one of those, the one where they're selling the Christmas trees and they sell it they bring it to the guy's house and they end up fucking destroying the guy's house and he ends up destroying their car is one of the greatest fucking things ever. No, they're amazing. And W.C. Fields, another guy that I really love. There's not as much of that.
There's great irony of W.C. Fields though.
Yeah.
He was done when he started.
What do you mean?
W.C. Fields was the world's greatest comedic juggler.
Oh, yes, that's true.
And toured the world with this. He'd had the patter.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Well, something hand. And he would juggle. And his big end routine was a pool table loaded with balls. And it was the one shot gets them all in, clears the table.
Amazing.
And it was done with a mirror, to show the audience the table.
Really?
And then, of course, the cables and the balls and the shit. But, and he was not really the notorious sort of drinking guy. He did consume alcohol, but he, by the time he got to Hollywood, he was he's like, what?
He was he'd been doing it forever. That's true.
He had been on stage vaudeville forever and was like, yeah, whatever. And by that point.
Yeah. He invented the cigar box juggling. I think he invented that. I think that was his thing.
I would not be surprised.
Well, when you see the guys with the cigar boxes and they get more and more boxes.
Do you ever do this, Paul? Do you ever want to see certain individuals right at the peak? Like give me Montgomery Clift, Broadway 50s.
Yeah, doing that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me one of those.
Yeah.
Give me Sammy Davis Jr. at like the Tropicana, like mid 60s.
Yeah. But to see W.C. Fields doing that vaudeville stuff
in vaudeville,
would have been amazing.
Where he destroys. He's got to destroy it though. Same with Houdini. Give me a live.
Oh my God, Houdini would be amazing.
In the 20s maybe.
I can't imagine what that must have been.
Houdini was brilliant because of his marketing too. Because he did a thing in Detroit. He'd go to the Belle Isle Bridge over the Detroit River. 10,000 people would show up, jumping in the river. In my long underwear. Boom, goes in. He had problems in Detroit. The current fucked him up. But anyway,
really?
He went through a hole in the ice. He had to breathe through little air pockets.
Jesus Christ.
Holy
get
shit.
back.
Wow.
But he finally gets out, and the whole thing was, you like that? Come tonight at the Masonic Temple.
Oh, my God. That's
Right.
genius.
At 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
That guy had a 3-story brownstone in New York City.
Yeah.
I mean, Houdini had the scratch.
Amazing. Well, one last thing, because I do follow you on the Instagram, and I just wanted to ask about your cats. Can I ask you about your cats?
Please.
How many of them do you have?
Bonnie and Clyde, too.
Bonnie and
Okay.
Clyde.
And that's
Bonnie's
it.
a cute little adorable gray cat, and Bonnie is he's sort of a black and dark brown scoundrel. He's the boy cat.
Uh-huh.
And he came in the other day with it and going, we're like, what happened? He got a puncture wound. He's because he gets out there.
You let them outside. They're outdoor cats?
They're outdoor, indoor. They come in for snuggles and food. And during the day, they're like, fuck with me, man.
And are you a lifelong cat guy? I'm just interested. I'm always interested about this.
I owned Basset Hounds as a kid.
Uh-huh.
Wow, that's a weird dog.
It is a weird dog, and I feel that genetically they were very challenged because you can only get a Basset Hound by doing very bad things to a normal dog.
Breeding them, yeah.
Their health was for shit, and they both died kind of horrible, protracted deaths. So I'm like,
Yeah.
Like I can't eat Captain Crunch to this day because I was told that my dog died halfway through a bowl of eating Captain Crunch. I can't even look at it.
Jesus Christ.
So, and I travel a lot, so cats were a little more like, hey, get back when you get back. That's fine, a little more independent. And,
that is what's good about them.
It's a fallacy that they don't care about you.
No,
it's
I
a
agree.
fallacy that they're
agree.
aloof. The cat just is very simply a libertarian.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
It goes, I don't want any part of that.
Yes.
Come here.
Yeah, I love that. That is what they are. Yes. Yes.
Now? I don't know.
But
when I feel like coming over.
But it's all the more rewarding when they do suddenly like sidle up to you and like, it's the best.
Absolutely. Because my Clyde will go, don't pet me here. We're not petting here. We're petting over here. I follow him all the way around the corner. And then, like he's been shot, bam! He's
like ready now.
And I got. He goes, I'll do it. I'll do it.
I love it. I love him. I love
Paul, you have 3 of them, don't you?
I have 3 of them now. Yeah, I have 3 of them now. I inherited
what are their names?
2 more. We got Zeus, we got Rudy, and we got Javier. Rudy and Javier were not our names.
Now,
but it's like
in the past, I had cats that were amalgamations, and they all hated each other and never got along, and would have fights at the end of the bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. For the first time, these were 2 COVID kitties, brother sister, rescued from under a deck, grown from inception.
Right.
And man, the connection we have with these cats.
Yeah.
It's kind of sick. Like friends are making fun of it. Hey, is it all right if the cats, if you go bowling? Is that all right?
Well, miraculously, these 3 get along really well. It's bizarre. And
I'm glad.
2 of them kind of came up together, so they're okay. And then this 3rd one, so they don't have that shit. No. And in fact, they get all fucking piled on each other.
You're lucky because cats can be.
Oh, yeah. No, I've had that experience where they fight and you have to keep them in separate rooms, separate wings of the house and shit like that.
Well, that was a lot of fun. I mean, that was a real meaty chinwag right there.
You are correct, sir. And we are so happy that you all joined us. Please meet us here again next week for another fun and exciting Chinwag, won't you? And don't forget to follow us, rate us, review us on Apple Podcasts, and share us with all of your weirdo friends. So see you next time, everyone, and wag on, weirdos.
Wag on. Chinwag is a production of Treefort Media and Touchy Feely Films. Hosted and executive produced by Paul Giamatti and Stephen Asma. Executive producers for Treefort are Kelly Garner and Lisa Ammerman. Dan Carey is executive producer for Touchy Feely. Our series producer is Rachel Whitley Bernstein. Original theme music by Luke Topp, with additional music by Via Mardot. Oscar Guido is our executive in charge of production. Tom Monahan is head of audio for Treefort. Animation created by Alex Sokol. Editing and mixing by Jeff Neal. Lastly, for more information, go to chinwagpod.fm and find us on Instagram or TikTok at chinwagpod or on Twitter at chinwag_pod.